Keeping a living space completely spotless doesn't require a massive arsenal of products. You really just need a basic toolkit to handle three core jobs: sweeping, waste, and washing. First up, dry sweeping. The broom and dustpan work together as a manual floor clearing system. The broom's stiff fibers easily gather loose dirt into a single pile, while the dustpan acts as the collection point to lift that physical debris off the ground. Next, managing waste. A designated trash can provides a centralized collection point for the room. By isolating discarded paper and dirt inside one dedicated container, you prevent waste from accumulating across your soft carpets and broader living spaces. Finally, wet washing. A round bucket acts as a portable vessel for holding water. By adding a handle, this tool completely mobilizes your water supply, allowing you to transport liquids away from the sink for heavy-duty cleaning tasks anywhere. Together, dry sweeping, centralized waste bins, and mobile water transport form a complete, cohesive system for maintaining any home. Have you ever thought about how a curtain actually controls window light? Because a bare pane of glass has absolutely no native ability to stop the sun. Imagine this single bare window with intense, uncontrolled sunlight blasting straight through the glass. To fix this, we add a simple piece of cloth mounted directly over the frame. When you close the curtain, you're just extending this cloth to physically cover the glass. It creates a solid barrier that completely blocks the incoming light rays. But there's a catch. If this cloth barrier were permanently fixed over the glass, the window would be completely useless whenever you actually wanted to let the sun back in. That is why the cloth is designed to be a movable mechanism. Opening the curtain pulls the barrier aside, instantly uncovering the window and restoring the natural flow of light into the room. And that uncontrolled bare window from the very beginning, we now have a simple way to master it. By simply sliding a movable piece of cloth, your room toggles instantly between bright sunlight and complete restful darkness. Every room has 5 physical boundaries. How do we name them all in English? Let's start with a person standing in a completely empty space. First, they need a surface to walk on. This solid bottom plane is the floor. It can also mean a level of a building, like the second floor. Directly above you is the top inside surface of the room. We call that the ceiling. An easy rule: the floor is below you and the ceiling is above you. But with only a top and bottom, this person is still totally exposed to the outside. To separate this space, vertical structures rise up, surrounding them on all sides. These are the walls. Now it's too dark, so an opening appears in one wall, filling with glass. This lets in light and fresh air. It's a window. Finally, they need a way to enter and leave. A movable barrier drops in that opens and closes. This is the door. And that completely empty space from the beginning, it is now a fully enclosed, correctly named room, ready to be lived in. When the sun goes down, navigating your home becomes a serious safety hazard. You need immediate command over your light sources. Take a completely dark bedroom where you just need to see. Sitting next to the bed is a device specifically designed to give light. This device is known as the lamp. But here is the friction. You are standing at the door. The lamp itself sits completely out of reach across the room. That is why you need a small, dedicated trigger mounted on the wall, used specifically to turn that distant light on or off. This remote control is the light switch. These two functional components form a paired physical system. When your hand flips the switch at the door, it sends an instant command across the room, telling the lamp to activate. So instead of blindly stumbling your way through that completely dark bedroom and risking a fall, a single flip of the light switch commands the lamp to activate, instantly flooding the entire space with illumination. Every container and cleaning tool you own is shaped perfectly for its exact job. First up, bottles versus jars. A bottle's narrow opening strictly controls pouring liquid water. but jars use a wide opening so you can easily scoop solids like sugar. Next, the everyday box. Its flat bottom and rigid walls create a strict shape, which provides highly secure, easily stackable storage for things like your shoes. Then there's the basket. It uses woven materials to create an open, breathable vessel, making it perfect for tossing and carrying loose, bulky items like your laundry. And finally, the sponge. Unlike rigid containers, it uses a soft, highly absorbent material, acting as an active tool designed strictly for washing and wiping a plate clean. So look around. Every physical design in your home, from narrow necks to flat walls, proves that form always gracefully follows function. Organizing your home gets easier when you know exactly what everything is called in English. First up, the drawer. It's a compartment built into a desk that slides in and out. Because it pulls open, it's perfect for hiding away small, loose items like your keys. Next, the cupboard. This is a larger, self-contained piece of furniture with doors. You'll usually find them in the kitchen, built with enclosed shelves that are perfect for storing cups. But what if there are no doors? That's a shelf. A shelf is simply a flat, open surface. Attached to a wall or bookcase, it's dedicated to holding or displaying objects like books and bottles. Then there's the toolbox. This isn't furniture. It's a specialized portable container designed to keep hardware organized. When you need to quickly grab your hammer or wrench, you look in the toolbox. Finally, the hanger. This is a purpose-built object used entirely for suspending clothes. You slip a shirt or a jacket onto a hanger inside your closet to keep it completely unwrinkled. So English storage vocabulary isn't random. The words categorize how the object works, whether it slides, encloses, lays flat, or hangs. Location words let us pinpoint where things are. Without them, you'd need exact mathematical coordinates just to find everyday objects. Instead, we anchor lost targets to known reference points, like searching for keys in a desk drawer. The word in defines interior containment, placing the keys entirely inside that boundary. Compare that to on, which maps surface contact. Think of a phone resting flatly on a shelf. The vertical plane is simple, like shoes positioned below a bed, but horizontal space is trickier. It relies on the reference object's forward orientation. Behind places a target at the absolute back of the reference, like a bag hidden behind a door, while in front of leads directly before it, like a toy car parked in front of a dollhouse. Lateral proximity changes based on your anchor count. A lamp sitting next to a sofa has one anchor. Add a second anchor, and you lock the target in the middle. The lamp is between the sofa and a chair. These are exact spatial locks, but near just defines general proximity. The object isn't bounded, it just shares the area, like a bathroom near a bedroom. So what happens when you search for those lost keys? Using the word in collapses a massive chaotic search area down to one specific geometric interior. We guide people to lost objects every day, but how do we instantly map a physical space using just words? Instead of absolute coordinates, we build a chain of relative relationships. Take a person trying to find their misplaced keys. Step 1 is identifying the lost movable target. Then, a positional word like in acts as a bridge, defining how those keys interact with their surroundings, like a drawer. But linking to a movable container isn't always enough to solve the problem. If they are just in the drawer, you might still be lost if you don't know where that specific drawer is located. So the mental map requires one final step. You anchor the entire chain to a large, permanent fixture, something like a heavy cupboard that you already know the location of. Now the location chain operates perfectly. The target is inside the container, anchored next to a permanent landmark. So what about those misplaced keys we were searching for at the very beginning of this process? By tracing that chain backward from the unmoving cupboard to the drawer, the searcher knows exactly where to find them. How do you clearly define any item? If a listener doesn't share your exact vocabulary, simply stating a noun fails. Instead, use a 3-part description framework. Let's test it on a standard household broom resting in the corner. Slot 1 establishes the baseline. State the direct noun. This is a broom. Slot 2 adds a physical trait. It is long. But here's the friction. A wooden pole or a stick are also long. That's why you lock in the final slot, the object's core utility. By adding cleaning the floor, you instantly eliminate all other possibilities. This exact sequence of name, trait, and function works universally. Watch it process a new object. This is a mirror. It is made of glass, and we use it to see our reflection. By linking a physical characteristic directly to an action, the definition becomes unbreakable. So the next time you completely forget a word, you can still explain exactly what you need. You're running late and your keys are missing, and you're trying to tell your roommate exactly where to look over the phone. To eliminate the guesswork, you need to master these precise location words. First up, in. This means an object is completely enclosed inside something else. Saying your keys are in the drawer immediately narrows the search to a physical interior. Next, on. This word describes direct surface contact. If your phone is on the shelf, it's resting flat against the exterior, completely exposed. Then there's between. This requires exactly two distinct reference points. Saying the lamp is between the sofa and the chair gives extreme precision by framing the target. Finally, near versus next to. Near just means general close proximity, like a bathroom being near a bedroom. But next to specifies immediate adjacency, right in touching distance. Together, these simple words act as a precise verbal coordinate system, letting you map any physical space without the guesswork. English learners constantly mix up in and on when talking about furniture. But guessing the wrong word doesn't just sound slightly off, it describes completely absurd physical situations. Take the everyday scenario of placing a pair of keys near a wooden table. If you say the keys are in the table, you're literally saying they are embedded and trapped inside the solid wood. Here's the core rule. We use on whenever an object is supported by a flat exterior surface. But this logic feels counterintuitive the second that plane rotates vertically. It makes people incorrectly guess that a framed picture belongs in the wall. Vertical planes follow the exact same rule. Hanging against the drywall's exterior boundary means the picture is on the wall. Expand this surface logic to other horizontal planes, like dropping shoes on the floor, or sitting on a sofa cushion rather than sinking inside it. So the next time you empty your pockets after a long day, those keys rest safely on the table's flat surface, completely untouched, instead of trapped inside it. How do we communicate the exact location of lost household objects? Instead of rigid coordinates, we build a mental chain of relative landmarks. Take the everyday scenario of someone trying to find their misplaced keys. The first step anchors that small object to an immediate container, like saying they're in the drawer. But there is friction here. This anchor fails if you don't already know where the drawer is. So the responder chains a second preposition to a permanent fixture. It's next to the cupboard. This completes a usable mental map. This exact spatial anchoring pattern repeats for nearly every misplaced household item. Locating a bucket, you anchor it underneath the sink. Looking for a jacket, you place it behind the door. Once this spatial map is successfully transferred to the searcher, the interaction always closes with a standardized, polite exchange of gratitude. Thank you. You're welcome. This acknowledges receipt of the information. And what exactly happens to those missing keys from the very beginning of the search? John simply follows the spatial chain backward, from the permanent cupboard to the drawer, right to his keys. How do you clearly define any item? If a listener doesn't share your exact vocabulary, simply stating a noun fails. Instead, use a three-part description framework. Let's test it on a standard household broom resting in the corner. Slot 1 establishes the baseline. State the direct noun. This is a broom. Slot 2 adds a physical trait. It is long. But here's the friction. A wooden pole or a stick are also long. That's why you lock in the final slot, the object's core utility. By adding cleaning the floor, you instantly eliminate all other possibilities. This exact sequence of name, trait, and function works universally. Watch it process a new object. This is a mirror. It is made of glass, and we use it to see our reflection. By linking a physical characteristic directly to an action, the definition becomes unbreakable. So the next time you completely forget a word, you can still explain exactly what you need.